Welcome back to News and Views right here on Salam Media. The time is 8:35 and it's time for our hashtag Africa Focus segment where we basically put a spotlight on some of the biggest stories unfolding across the continent of Africa. And today we are zooming in on the Democratic Republic of Congo. There's a region that us South Africans know all too well. We've had our troops come back from that region just a few weeks ago, and it's where the situation continues to remain quite critical, especially in the eastern part of the DRC. The Rwanda-backed M23 rebel group responsible for taking the key city of Goma has announced a unilateral ceasefire. They're citing humanitarian reasons, but with over 900 people reportedly dead and over almost 3,000 injured and hundreds of thousands displaced, questions remain. Is this ceasefire genuine or just a tactical pause before more fighting resumes? Meanwhile, the DRC government itself hasn't said a word about the ceasefire. They haven't acknowledged it. They haven't rejected it or accepted it in any way. And they refuse to acknowledge the M23 statement. And the tensions with Rwanda also continue to remain sky high ahead of that planned regional summit. And to help us unpack all of this, the DRC and everything that's happening in that part of the world lately, we'll be speaking to Shomari Mukandjwa. He's from the Congolese Solidarity Campaign and is joining us via our virtual platform. Brother Shomari, thank you so much for chatting to us. Always a pleasure. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm very well, thanks. Always a pleasure to speak to Salam Media in particular and speaking to the viewer of South Africa, your view and South Africa and across the world, of course.
Definitely. Thank you so much. I think the pleasure is all ours. I think we can kickstart the conversation with what's happening right now. M23 says it's calling for a ceasefire. They don't want to fight anymore. They're putting a pause to it. Is there any reason to believe that this is a genuine humanitarian move, or is it more about political strategy, trying to see what could be their next move while putting a pause to the fighting in Goma and other regions of the DRC?
Yeah, thank you very much for that particular question. It's a very important question for your viewers and the people across the continent and the world to understand the strategy that are applied by the M23. This the so-called ceasefire is not genuine because it's not the first time that they have announced that they will cease the hostility that they've been carrying on since they took the city of Goma and Bukavu. We understand the sources from our sources from back home are telling us how executions that they are being carried out by M23. And whenever they announce this ceasefire, it is a time now they carry on their operation in the very small villages in order to engulf other big cities. For example, they are trying to catch the town of Uvira, and since they are in Kamanyola, they have tried many attempts. They are trying to also to pass by on the plateau of Minembwe in order to capture Uvira and ultimately Fizi and continue to Tanganyika province. So their strategy has been such. So when they announce this, the so-called ceasefire, it is not genuine as we understand. The mass killing still continue in Bukavu. They are occupying, even in fact, yesterday we are reading a report that in Bukavu alone, they have taken the area of a chieftaincy of Bagira in certain area, which I forgot, and I'm sorry, where the M23 has put the local chieftains under house arrest and taking the people hostage in that area. So the ceasefire they are announcing is not genuine. It is just a lie. It is just buying time for them to continue with their aggression. Also, when they announce that it's because of humanitarian basis, it is not true. It's a lie. Because in Goma alone, how many people have been killed? They are executing people in Bukavu every day. This report that are coming out, despite people, because of people, they don't have access to go and count how many people are killed by M23. People are fleeing Bukavu as we speak now. People are fleeing Goma as we speak now. So when they say about humanitarian, it's because of humanitarian. That's what they want to leave this, make this ceasefire. It is not true. It's all a lie. They understand they are under pressure because the supplier, who is the Rwanda, is also under pressure. And there is a rumor that is going around because of what happened last week, the commemorations of a certain general soldier that graduated in Rwanda. The absence of Paul Kagame is making also people wary. So it seems like Paul Kagame is said he's dead. Some they said he's sick. Some they are saying like this. There are so many stories around the presence of the absence of Paul Kagame now. So the Paul Kagame issue, the pressure that is put on Paul Kagame ultimately has caused the M23 to halt its aggression or its progress since they capture the city of Goma. And the presence of Joseph Kabila in the city of Goma and the sanction that the government has taken, the decision that the government has taken, also has brought some implications for Kabila to retreat from Goma, where he was. I was expecting that the Congolese population, they will welcome him with enthusiasm so that they can carry on with this war. But the people said, we don't want any more war. You've been in the country, you ruled the country for 18 years, and you've done nothing except to enrich yourself. You killed a lot of people. There are so mass graves that are in Kinshasa and other part of the country during your rule. So you can't come and tell us today you want to remove Tshisekedi. We understand Tshisekedi is not also a perfect person, but you and Tshisekedi are all the same. So we cannot welcome Chess Paul and welcome Jean-Pierre.
It's very interesting that you mentioned Tshisekedi. There's a regional summit coming up, an East African summit that's coming up in the next few days, where both President Paul Kagame of Rwanda and Tshisekedi himself are expected to attend. What do you think might happen in those talks? Do you think they could probably be a turning point for peace, or just another failed attempt like the numerous ones that we've seen in the last couple of years when it comes to M23, Rwanda, and the DRC?
Yeah, the talks that are being underway, that are prepared by the Eastern African community, it is all a waste of time. A waste of time. Why? Because when the East Africa is failing to condemn Rwanda aggression in the DRC, so there's no use for people to go to such a dialogue. So we understand the countries in Eastern Africa are all implicated in Congo. For example, let me just bring this one. Rwanda has no port. And when Rwanda is extracting the mineral in Congo, it comes to Rwanda, but it fueled to Kenya and taken to other countries, other parts of the world. So Kenya is also implicated in this war. Second, to show Kenya implications, when M23 was fighting in Congo, AC, which is Alliance Fleuve Congo, which is created by the former electoral commission, Corneille Nangaa, he went and created that in Kenya, in Nairobi. Where was the security apparatus of Kenya to stop these people to go and create their party, political party, which was or still had the intention to start causing again a war in Congo? If Kenya was partial, was a country that does not want to implicate, how could it allow that party to be formed in its own territory without even informing the Congolese government? So it shows the implication of Kenya into the affair of the Congo. We cannot even mention Uganda, because Uganda has been there since 1996. They just pulled out because of the sanctions that were posed on them after the massacre in Kisangani, and which he is paying still today. Uganda pays a certain amount of money that were decreed by the United Nations, that the Uganda should pay compensation to the crime that they committed in Kisangani. So this summit has no use. It's just a waste of time. And they are doing this in order to attract, to divert the attention of the summit that have been the signature that are being waited in the United States, that Congo has agreed, Rwanda has agreed, so that they can sit around the table and sign a peace deal. That is why they are trying now to pull the Rwanda and Congo into this small regional summit and avoiding international commitment that they have all agreed to go and sign. And that's why you see Uganda, Paul Kagame, he is now playing a tactics, playing a game that is sick, cannot be seen in the public because of his sick. Some they are saying he's dead. Some they are saying so many rumors that are going around. Still, Rwanda have imposed a 7 days holiday. Holiday for what? People are not understanding. So the situation is not clear. And that's why the regional office, the region body, the Eastern African community, they are trying to call and persuade these people to sit and talk. There's nothing will happen. They did that in Nairobi several times. All the Congolese armed group, they meet in Nairobi to discuss this, but M23 pulled out and they started again hostilities. So there's nothing they can do. And Kenya and the Uganda and all this, the region never condemned Rwanda for its hostility and aggression in Congo. So the meeting, either they can plan it today or tomorrow, will bring no fruit at all.
I think let's focus on the humanitarian aspect here that the M23 rebels are saying is the case and reason why they've tabled a ceasefire deal. From those that are at home, what are you gathering from them? What are the true lived experiences of the people of Goma amid this crisis?
As I said in the beginning, it's all a lie, because the M23, as I said, they are under pressure. They know, the world has understood where their backing is. The Rwanda is one, despite the negating to say they are not implicated directly in the war in the DRC. No one is a fool to understand that the backing of M23 is coming from Rwanda. The soldiers that have been fighting in Goma, the capturing of Goma, were not the M23 fighters, but they were Rwandan soldiers, because the satellite imageries can show that, and the people on the ground, they see daily how the Rwandan soldier crosses into Congo, and there is a camp of Rwandan soldier on the Congolese soil since Kabila is still in power. To date, that camp was not dismantled in the Nyiragongo area, and they have been there since then. So when M23 sees the Rwanda is being under pressure, these Western countries that now who are giving them the money, they are no longer giving this, they are no longer supplying the material that they're supposed to. And the sanctions that are imposed on the Rwandan military, certain Rwandan military, the M23, they have seen there is no way out. So what to do is to have a ceasefire so that they can go to the negotiations. It will be a great mistake if Congolese government will agree to go with the M23 to a sitting room and then talk about about the peace. M23 is not for the peace. I can assure you, after these talks, if they finish the talk, they will again go and they create another M23. It started with the FDLR when they started in 1996. After that, they went to what you call RCD Goma. After the RCD, they went. They create CNDP. After CNDP is M23. After M23 is another M23. So these people playing a game of when they are weaker, they want to go to negotiations. And when they are stronger, they want to continue to persist with their demand. A demand which is not even true, that they are fighting to protect the Tutsi. Of course, which tribe in Congo does not deserve a protection? Every Congolese deserves a protection. So why do you have to be a specific Tutsi people? We don't want to happen what happened in Rwanda in 1994 to come to Congo, or what happened in Uganda in 1980 something to come and happen in Congo. If you are a Tutsi Congolese, you must abide by the law of the country and work for the country, and not to work for the interest of your origin where you come from. If you come from Rwanda, forget what happened in Rwanda. Now you are a Congolese. Why do you still have to fight your country in order to protect of the interest of the country that your grandfather or grandmother came from? That's a problem. So I don't think if these people, they are there genuinely saying they wanted to fight, I mean, they wanted to have a ceasefire on a humanitarian ground. It is all lie. They just wanted to buy time for them to continue with a small law in the small villages, and one day they will make a surprise to hear they catch again Goma, Uvira, or they capture Fizi and continue to Tanganyika, because the ultimate reason, the plan is to capture Kisangani, to capture Katanga, so that they can weaken Kinshasa, and tomorrow they enter Kinshasa. That is their plan. Luckily, because the what we call the Wazalendo, these local people who have taken arms to protect their land, their fathers, their mothers, are the one who will be giving them a nightmare. And that's why they are saying on a humanitarian ground, they wanted to have a ceasefire. If it was a ceasefire, they should have made a ceasefire a long time when they had talks in Kenya, when the process started of Nairobi, in order to halt all hostilities between armed group and the government. But they pull out. So what the ceasefire is speaking about now, after killing how many people in Bukavu, how many people in Goma? Which ceasefire are they talking about? You cannot have a ceasefire already killed thousands of people, then you wanted to say we want to have a ceasefire. If they wanted a ceasefire, they should do it a long time and not now.
Definitely. I want to let you go, but there's a question that I think a lot of South Africans are really, really interested in. The withdrawal of the SANDF and the SADC region, soldiers. How is that perceived in the DRC? And most importantly, what kind of effect has it had on the region's instability?
I will request you to repeat, because there was a cut. I couldn't hear your whole question properly. Please, if you can repeat that.
All right. I just want to know about the withdrawal of the SANDF and some of the contingency of the SADC military organizations. How is that perceived in the DRC, and what kind of impact has the SANDF leaving Goma and other parts of the DRC has had on the region and the stability thereof?
Yeah, the pulling out of the SNDF from Goma and let's say the Samir, the whole African region, South African troops withdrawing in from Goma in those areas, it is has impacted negatively to the population of Goma, particularly. Why I'm saying this? Because of course they did not want to engage while the civilian were into the city. If they could engage M23, there could be a great catastrophic catastrophe that could happen in that region. So wisely they stopped not fighting and pretend that they surrender, which it was okay. It was not good for them to engage in the middle of many millions of Congolese or civilians. They could cause a very harm. But it has left an impact that the M23 has exposed itself. Indeed, that they are not only M23 fighting, because you cannot tell me that M23 can engage with the South African soldier and defeat them. No. Secondly, these soldiers, the South African troops, were there just for observation mission to make peace. They were not there to engage, as M23 claimed. But Rwanda sent its special soldier to come and fight the South African troops or these SADC troops. And therefore, their withdrawal has left an impact. But the impact, a negative one, because now people are left with nothing. M23 as a terrorist organization, killing Congolese people. There is no observation missions. Even when the what you call the SADC, sorry, for United Nations missions also in Congo, they don't have that the ability to come and to go and control where the M23 is controlling what is happening there. So the pulling of the soldier in Samir or SADC countries, it has left a very huge gap that the civilians. That's why M23 is killing civilians uncounted, because there's no one who's observing that. We only get the news from our people, and they cannot release information fully because they are not allowed. If you do that, they capture you. We see how many unverified video, of course, people are being shot in the daylight, in the head, in Bukavu, in Goma and other areas. So the M23, I mean the SADC troops leaving the area, it has really caused a lot of harm. But we appreciated their wisdom of not engaging them directly in the middle of millions of people, because there could be many casualties, many civilians could die. We appreciate that, and we're still saying, as a Congolese Solidarity Campaign, we're still saying, calling South African troops, that we will never forget your sacrifice that you made for Congolese people. When all the country, all these African countries, the region, for example, in Eastern Africa, they abandoned the Congo, but the South African and the other country in the region sacrificed their time to come and protect the civilians. Yet these people, warmonger, they took the courage to start shooting at them, and the people come to make peace and accuse them that they are coming to engage. We will never forget that sacrifice. We will never forget that sacrifice.
Shomari Mukandjwa, spokesperson of Congolese Solidarity Campaign. Always a pleasure talking to you, and hope we engage soon. Really appreciate you giving us your time.
Thank you very much, and we really much appreciate your time to giving us this time. Thank you.
There you go. Going to take a quick break. When we come back, News and Views continues.